What is going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode, opening up another podcast here to obviously talk about our favorite team, but mostly to talk about wild card weekend. Because yes, although the Arizona Cardinals aren't playing in this playoff season, we're still watching some stuff. So we'll be doing a recap here of wild card weekend, and then we're also going to be diving into obviously a little Cardinals talk here before. But of course, we're joined here with Mythic. What's up, brother? How are you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing good. The weekend has been very interesting, especially the playoffs. But, I am doing great. Can't complain. Hopefully, everyone in the chat is doing good. How are you doing, my guy?
Yeah, good. Can't complain. Obviously, we were blessed with a stress-free type of weekend with really good football, or I guess surprising football, because we saw a lot of blowouts. So we're going to be diving into that, like what surprised us, what you liked, what you didn't like, that type of stuff. So you have anything? What did you do over the weekend? Let's kind of start off with that.
Man, it was a lot of football.
That was
Football and just
crazy.
chilling. And the blowouts this week were just insane. But outside of football, just chilling.
Yeah,
Just chilling. I'm
same.
assuming same.
Yeah, same with me. Not much. Just basically sitting on the couch watching a lot of football, stress-free football. We might have to add that here as well. So
The best kind of
yeah.
football.
Absolutely. So let's dive into it. We started off on Saturday with actually a shocking one. I'm not sure if you were shocked, but I was shocked. The Browns and the Texans, 45-14. The Texans absolutely blew them out. What were your thoughts on CJ Stroud in that game, just in general? Did you watch all 4 games?
I did.
What were your thoughts on that one?
So, let's go ahead and start it off. We got 45-14. Cleveland just
Crazy.
decimated. It looked like Cleveland was in it. It was like 14-10, 14-17 at one point. Joe Flacco throws back-to-back pick sixes, kind of just kills all momentum. CJ Stroud just looked unstoppable, hitting deep ball after deep ball. Everything was open, even a couple missed shots, and they still put up 45. He had like 2 drives that were killed on plays where they could have scored touchdowns. And they still won 45-14. This is one of the best defenses in the NFL. Maybe the second best defense, arguably, because I think Baltimore's defense is just better personally, and I've always stood on that. But, man, I did not expect Cleveland to get diced like that.
Me neither. I don't remember what your pick was, but I think I could have sworn I remember both of us picking the Cleveland Browns. Well, because we saw the
Yep.
Cleveland Browns and we were like, that defense is pretty scary. Joe Flacco was playing unbelievable, right? So we were like, good for the Browns. But man, what an absolute shocker. CJ Stroud had a game. Are we saying one of the best rookie quarterbacks like ever with CJ Stroud? What are your thoughts on CJ Stroud? Because he was 16-21, 274 yards, 3 touchdowns. What are your thoughts on CJ Stroud overall?
It's got to be one of the best rookie seasons. You got to give him credit.
You
have
do.
to. So it sucks because, of course, we hold the pick. Because why wouldn't we? And then just outside of that, CJ Stroud is just killing it. Like, stats alone, solid. And then you take account where this team was projected to be, and they're supposed to be a top 5 worst team in the NFL. And not only that, they're rallying win after win. Where they finished with 9-10 wins on the season. Won a wild card playoff game against the best defense, one of the best defenses in the NFL. You got to give them their credit. This is one of the best seasons we've seen from a rookie in a long time.
Yeah, so Houston Texans actually finished with 11 wins.
Yeesh.
And
I think 11 wins. Is it 11 for sure?
Yeah, they were.
Or is this their 11th win?
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right because that's 18. You're right. It is 10 wins. I'm sorry. So they're 11-7 on the season technically, but you're right. 10 wins to finish off the regular season, and they won their playoff. You're right. 10 wins to finish off the regular season. Mm-hmm. That's still impressive. That's still very, very, because you're right. I mean, they were projected to be like on the bottom with us. Like literally when everybody was talking about the Cardinals and the Texans, like we were saying to ourselves, this is such a good Monty move. And I'm not saying it's not a good Monty move, but like who would have known that this season would have come out the way that it is, right? With CJ Stroud, Will Anderson Jr., which is a guy that I was really high on, but I'm not mad at Paris Johnson Jr. I like the pick still. But like it's so crazy to see like a few pieces really change the dynamic of an organization. Good for them. Good for them. Not good for us at the end of the day, because like you said, we hold their pick. And right now we have slipped to the 26th overall. So the Cardinals are holding the 4th overall with our pick, and then the 26th overall with the Houston pick. So
you couldn't have told me at the beginning of the season that this Houston team was going to rally off a win in the playoffs later on. Not only the rally a win, they're going to make it. I would have called you insane.
Yeah.
I would have called you insane.
Everybody would have, bruh. Everybody would have, man. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. It's cool for them, but like as a Cardinal fan, because we own their pick, it's frustrating to see that. Because we've so badly wanted them to suck as bad as we weren't. We weren't that great in terms of the record. So it is what it is. Do you think that that's the biggest shocker over the weekend so far? I know there's 2 more games today, but like overall, was that the biggest shocker to you this game?
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay, well, let's segue to the next one. Let's go over to Saturday. Let's just recap the games and then we'll talk about the biggest shocker. So let's go to the next game. So the next Saturday's game was the Chiefs and the Dolphins. That was 26-7. The Chiefs end up beating them 26-7. What were your thoughts on this game?
I think this went just how I expected it.
Yeah.
Miami coming into Kansas City playing in cold weather against Patrick Mahomes, who's semi used to it. Obviously not wind chills, but I mean, he's more used to playing in that than the Miami Dolphins.
True.
Right? Like, I don't trust Tua in the snow. As soon as I saw the weather conditions, they were playing in Kansas City, and Tua Tagovailoa was a quarterback for the Dolphins. I think I had a pretty good idea where this was going. So that's just me personally. I thought the Chiefs were going to dominate this game regardless. My predictions haven't been spot on for this week. I will be very honest about that. My predictions sucked. But, I got this one. So I believe, I don't remember what I went. Either 1-3 or 2-2. But the weather was crazy. You had Andy Reid's mustache.
Wild.
Bitten from the game. Just absolutely insane. I thought Kansas City was going to, I'm sorry. I thought Kansas City was going to dominate this one from the start. And they did.
Yeah.
Are you feeling the same?
Yeah, I didn't think it was gonna be that bad. In terms of the record or the score. I thought Miami was gonna put up more of a fight, but like I love to see the Miami Dolphins fans just absolutely tear into two. It's just like they're so upset right now because I know there's a group of Miami fans because like I follow a lot of different YouTubers to like that are fans of other teams, and I'm just interested to see like kind of the reactions and stuff. And then. Yeah, there's a lot of people not happy. So I thought that the Chiefs were going to win, but not in this fashion. So good for the Chiefs. I don't think the Chiefs are going to go very far, but I also don't think the Miami Dolphins were as good as people thought they were. Their record was like they won against a lot of losing teams. So.
They can't be 500 teams.
Yeah,
and that was another part that played into it. And then Tua in the snow, just chalk it.
Yeah, didn't work. Didn't work at all. All right, perfect. Let's move on to the next one here. We got the Packers versus the Cowboys. Packers end up beating the Cowboys 48-32. But if you watch that game, you know darn well that game was not even close. The Cowboys threw a lot of garbage points on the board. But what are your thoughts on that game?
The score at one point was 41-16. So talk about garbage points. Like, sheesh. Who saw Green Bay walking in here and just owning Dallas at home? Dallas at home, one of the best teams in the NFL. I thought Dallas was at least going to string this one together and maybe collapse later on because I don't believe in Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
Man, the collapse came early this season. It came early for Dallas. No need to worry about choking in the playoffs anymore because it's over. If you're a Dallas fan, I mean, hitting the Reggie Miller, the choke, man. I mean, y'all got nothing. It's crazy to watch Jordan Love dissect that defense just like that all day. It was like CJ Stroud 2.0. I mean, he just came in here against a very fantastic elite level defense, one of the best in the NFL, and just tear it apart. They stood no chance. And not only that, Dak Prescott couldn't do anything. Threw that pick six as well. Just couldn't get it going. And then Jair, oh my gosh, I keep choking on my own spit, but Jair Alexander made a phenomenal interception very early on. Bummed ankle, wasn't expected to go, made that fantastic play, if you know what I'm talking about, where he basically one-on-one dove for the ball, contested an interception, took it back for 6, obviously got called back because he was down by contact.
Yeah.
Crazy, man. Jordan Love looked sensational.
He did. No, he did. Especially with when you're talking about, the best defense or one of the best defenses in the NFL with the Dallas Cowboys. But I guess what do Cowboys fans, what do they expect? Like, I don't think they don't understand that they just don't do well in the playoffs. It happens every single year. They can be the best team in the conference and they just choke. It's just, there's a lot of storylines right now, and I'm not sure of what to believe, but there's a lot of rumors out there saying that the Jerry Jones is not happy with Mike McCarthy. They might fire him and stuff. What are your thoughts on that before we jump up to the next game?
And the Bill Belichick rumors, man. Yeah. I mean, the greatest coach of all time is just sitting lurking. So it makes every coach expendable if you're not already 100% surefire set on your guy. You got the greatest head coach of all time. And I mean, Jerry Jones and Bill Belichick kind of have a great relationship. So, and the rumors were circulating even before this game that if a certain NFC East team ends up dropping a game, then the coach will be on the hot seat. So I think it's very possible. This is a very bad loss. Mike McCarthy obviously had his best season, but collapsed. Insane. Dallas just can't get it done. I don't know if it's necessarily his fault because
Right.
this happens every single year.
Right.
But this was a slap in the face for Dallas. So I believe everything is on the table right now. And Jerry Jones does need to evaluate that because I don't know whether that's the problem or not. Dak Prescott obviously advocated for him after the game, but what does that do for you?
Yeah, it doesn't really do very much. I mean, honestly, especially if you put the numbers that you put up. And like I said, there was a lot of garbage points that was put up in this game. So it made it look like it was a lot closer than it was. But man, I'm excited to see what's going to happen there. Green Bay, man, Green Bay. What a frustrating thing to see. And not just for like the NFC, but like for the NFC North. Like, how frustrated are you as like a Bears fan, as a Vikings fan, to always get a quarterback right? Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and now Jordan freaking Love. Like, that's nuts. That's nuts. So, like, good for them. I'm glad they're not in our division, but they are in our conference, which actually does suck because, like,
Yep.
it's wild.
This is his first year starting, by the way.
Yeah.
And Jordan Love did not look great
In
to
the
start
beginning.
the year.
Get it. Mm-hmm.
But the mechanics and the tools are always there. He had the ability. He learned behind one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history, who not only can you tell from the way he just plays the game, like the way he just swings his hips, the way he throws off 2 feet, the way
Yeah.
he zips the ball, the way he throws it, like his throwing mechanics, they mirror Aaron Rodgers a lot. There are so many plays you look at Jordan Love and just the way he moves, and it's like, dang, we really got Aaron Rodgers Jr. at
Yeah.
quarterback right now. Like, he takes care of the football. He throws just like him. And that's saying a lot because Jordan Love came into the NFL with a little bit of accuracy issues. And last night, we did not see accuracy issues whatsoever. He stepped
Dyson.
up. He was Dyson.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, just for the sake of time, let's move over to the last game. We got 2 more games here today on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, but let's talk about the last game, which I thought it was the best game of the freaking weekend. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh,
Lions and Rams. Lions end up pulling it off by 1 point, 24-23. I say this. Congratulations to the Detroit Lions. I'm not sure if you guys feel the same or if you feel the same way, Mythic, but I look at the Lions and I see us. I see us so much because we see a organization that hasn't won a playoff game since I believe they said 91, like somewhere in the 90s, like early 90s. It's so freaking crazy to see that happen. And the storyline was so beautiful. Like Jared Goff coming from the Rams, and then you got Matthew Stafford coming from the Lions, and they come back and boom, the best team wins. And I'm so glad the Lions won. What are your thoughts on this game?
Honestly, this is the team I want to win the Super Bowl,
Mm-hmm.
let alone anything. Detroit built this thing right. Love Dan Campbell. Love everything he brought. Love the culture. Just love how players buy in to what he feeds. And you can just tell, like, a whole team, when they have their head coach who is really easy to rally behind, you can see that on the field. I mean, the defense for Detroit is fantastic. The O-line, great. David Montgomery runs hard. Jared Goff played a fantastic game. And I mean, fantastic game yesterday. So did Matthew Stafford. Credit to both of them. They went out and they killed it. Like, both of them, they killed it. And I was impressed from both sides because Puka Nacua also had a masterclass performance. Man, definitely game of the week for sure. It wasn't even close in my eyes because obviously you look at the scores of the other games and then this game, and it tells a story alone. But it's just fantastic football.
Blowout after blowout
end
after
of the game.
blowout. We finally see a good game on the last slate, which is good. Just for the sake of time, what was your most surprising game that we saw this weekend?
I'd say Packers, Cowboys. I didn't think Packers were going to come in and storm them like that. I thought Dallas was at least going to be able to facilitate a little bit. They could not. They couldn't do anything. Like, I didn't think the Packers were going to come and put 40 bomb early in the third quarter, halfway through the third quarter. That was just gross. I thought Dallas was going to step up, and they just couldn't. Is that your surprising game, or is it
Um,
different? Are you gonna go Texans Browns?
Texans, dude. I'm gonna go Texans. I never would have thought. I knew the Packers weren't dog water. You know what I mean? But I also so that is a surprising. Like I would put that as my notable number 2 surprising, like big time. Although I love to see the Cowboys, choke because obviously me and you both have fathers that are Cowboys fans, so
Oh
it kind of
yeah,
has a little bit of a
incentive.
yeah, incentive for us to kind of be happy about it. But like I was more shocked about the Texans, the way they blew them out, because I was like, oh, CJ Stroud had a really good, regular season. Good for him, right? Rookie guy, he's doing what he does. I never would have thought in a million years he was going to do that to the Browns and then win his first playoff game in his rookie year. So like that's just kudos to him. And then obviously Jordan Love, his first year starting, so kudos to him too as well. So overall, good games. I love that the underdogs are winning because that's what I go for. But in terms of the people in the NFC, I do agree with you. I would love to see the Lions make an absolute push. I don't want to see the 49ers, although I feel deep down the 49ers might be the guys at the end of the dance. Maybe not
Yeah.
winning it, but at the end, I would love to see the Lions back there. Definitely.
I mean, if we're talking about upsets, let's go Tampa Bay today. Let's go Tampa Bay. I'm cool on the Steelers. I don't want to see the Steelers in the playoffs. If the Steelers win, I'm going to be kind of upset for a lot of reasons.
Oh, yeah.
Cardinals and Steelers, go back.
Yeah.
Nice little detailed history there. We want to see them bounce as well, just for the sake of hatred for that team or dislike for that team. And then I like Buffalo. I think Buffalo's dope. I like Tampa Bay as well, Baker Mayfield. So if we can keep the underdog thing coming outside of Pittsburgh, let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay, that was my next question to you. The segue into the next couple games. So you got the Buffaloes over the Steelers, and then you got the Bucks over the Eagles. And I'm assuming because the Eagles don't have AJ Brown, he's out for the game. Is that why, or do you think that the Eagles are kind of?
I'm gonna still go Eagles to win. I want Tampa Bay to win, like really, really bad. I will be rooting for them. I think Tampa Bay has the facilities to pull this off. Jalen Hurts banged up, Darius Slay banged up, AJ Brown out. They got a lot of injuries they're dealing with. So I think Tampa Bay can come in here. Baker Mayfield is banged up as well, but the Tampa Bay defense, very underrated. On top of that, you have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Never can discredit those two. Mike Evans is Mr. Consistent, obviously posts 1,000-yard seasons every single year. And then, flipping to the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think they're just going to get obliterated from the start. I know weather is going to play a big factor, but Buffalo's used to it.
Yeah.
So I think Buffalo's going to come in here and stomp them.
Do you think it's going to be a stomp, or you think so? Like, what do you mean? Like in the 20s to 0 to 3 to 6? What do you think like the prediction is going to be in terms of score prediction?
Like 31 to like 17.
Okay. That's respectable. At least they're putting some points up. Okay. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game just because of the weather. That's going to, I do think the Bills are going to win. I think it's going to be like 17-10 or 17-7. Bills win.
Yeah. I think it's going to be kind of like Kansas City. Maybe like 13-30 or 13-27. Just Buffalo up 2 scores at least.
I love it. Love it. Love it. So the Bucks, you think the Eagles are going to win, but you want the Bucks to win?
Yeah, I got to put the mythic jinx on Philadelphia today.
Love it. Love it. I like those picks. I 100% agree with you. I think the Bills are going to win. Don't care too much for the Steelers. I really don't. I like Mike Tomlin, but get out of the playoffs. And then I agree with you. I want the Bucks to win, but I kind of feel like the Eagles are going to get it right. We'll see, though. Hopefully we're wrong. All right, let's jump into another topic because we're going to be doing a smaller, abbreviated podcast today. Let's talk about the blueprint. Let's talk about what the Detroit Lions have done. And do you see similarities in terms of what you feel like the Cardinals should do moving forward? Because, we're a Cardinals podcast, but we got to chime in and talk about our favorite teams.
Absolutely.
What do you feel? Do you feel like that's the blueprint, or do you want to just take little segments in terms of what they did? Like, what do you feel about the Detroit Lions compared to the Cardinals?
Obviously, we didn't trade our franchise quarterback for a bunch of picks and then get a quarterback that's definitely solid and can take you to a Super Bowl.
Right.
Like he did in the past. We don't have that similar blueprint, but in terms of rebuilding in that 3-year stretch, I think it is very possible. I think next year we're going to take a massive leap. Again, depending on draft and free agency, but we have a ton of money to spend. We have 2 first-round draft picks. I believe it's 7 picks within the first 3 rounds. We have all the facilities to get a lot better next year. And if the Cardinals go out, hit on these draft picks, and bring in players that we want to see, maybe like a Marvin Harrison Jr., like an offensive lineman or an edge rusher, a corner back end of the first round, because the Texans just will not lose football games for whatever reason. So that's going to be a late draft pick. We have every facility to get it done. Monty has done every single thing right in his first year. If he can replicate that in year 2 where your draft assets are through the roof, man, this team has potential. And with Kyler Murray coming back, we go, 3-5, could have went 4-4. This team's not talented, super banged up towards the back end as well. I think Budda Baker is going to get better. I think the defense is going to rally behind everybody. And then if we can just continue to build what we have, I think the Cardinals have a chance to legitimately be special, kind of like Detroit, where you take that 3-year leap. You're on the brink of playoffs. I believe it's 8 wins in year 2 after finishing with 3 in year 1. People never bought in, and then they just progressively got better. And in year 3, look at them. They're soaring. They're soaring. So maybe the Cardinals can replicate it a little bit early. The Cardinals aren't that far off. I mean, Kyler's posting about it. They're all talking about it in their post-game interviews after we lost against Seattle. They were talking about, we're not that far away. We're bought in. I mean, we love what we're building. We all see the vision. I'm ready. I see it. I see it as well. I believe in Jonathan Gannon and Amani Ossenfort and what we got going. So I'm excited, and I think we can replicate it. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think you hit that right in the beginning where we didn't do this, we didn't do that, but just the thoughts of the buying in, right? I hope to take a big leap as well, because if you have a franchise quarterback, I don't expect anything more than at least sniffing playoffs. I mean, heck, obviously playoffs is going to be what we truly all want as Cardinal fans. But if we're a team that's competitive to the very end and we're man, we're right there. Honestly, I feel like that's a winning season. I know some Cardinal fans are it's playoff or bust. I can see that, but it also does depend, like you said, on what happens in free agency, and what happens in the draft. I don't know what's in the mind of Monty Ossenfort. I don't know. What I truly want is for them to build this team outright to succeed and to be a team that's going to be competitive at the end of the day, because you got your franchise quarterback. You're not going to waste another year of him, right? He's only got so much prime years in his life. So we got to go for it in these next couple of years in the grand scheme of things. So I like what the Detroit Lions are doing. I like him as a head coach. I like Dan Campbell. He's a fantastic head coach. I see some similarities to Jonathan Gannon, just in terms of just not being too hot, not being too cold. Jonathan Gannon is just as cool as a cucumber, man. Bad things can happen. He would just kind of give you a straight face. Good things can happen. Obviously, he celebrates with the people he needs to celebrate with, but then he just kind of cool, calm, and collected for the remaining of the time. If bad things happen, he's not willing to throw people under the bus. And you got to know who's in your locker room. Everybody's different. That's one thing that people don't understand, that people are all different, right? We see them as players. We see them at the end of the day as oh, they got money, they should be able to accommodate. But people have different personalities. People need to be talked to differently. And just I think the way that Jonathan Gannon's coming in here, although showing accountability is a big thing, he's not throwing people under the bus. And I think that's kind of what's best for this locker room right now. So I'm excited. I truly am. James Conner was excited about it. Kyler Murray looked excited about it. The way that they were talking almost kind of made me feel like they knew they should have been 4-4 with Kyler Murray. Or better. Exactly. I feel like they knew that they should have been 4-4. I'm sorry, better than 4-4. Sorry. Yeah. You know what I mean? They should have been better than the record that they had with Kyler Murray.
We should have had 2 more wins. And I think they understand that was the minimum. Texans game, kind of let that slip, turn the ball over. CJ Stroud did not look good. That should have been ours. And then the last game against Seattle, we could have won that too. I feel like Matt Prater, put in a good word for us. Jonathan Gannon whispered in his ear, told him to slide that thing a little left or right. Doesn't matter. You choose. And, I feel like we, for the better of the organization, got a better draft pick, but that's just conspiracy. But I mean, we were in a lot of games. The Rams one is kind of the only one that felt like we didn't really have a chance.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, I mean, I feel like it was competitive football.
I agree, man. I agree. I'm excited. I truly am excited to see what the Arizona Cardinals are going to become 2024. And Monty Ossenfort, man, and Kyler. Just look at the relationship, man. They definitely seem happy. And we've heard this multiple times from Kyler Murray himself that he knows that the people that are in charge, they support him. And not what you need, right? And just think about it. If you're at work, if you're at school, if you have a teacher that truly believes or supports you, if you're at school or even at work that truly believes you can get a promotion, you definitely feel more confident in what you do. And I feel like they're actually giving this man, Kyler Murray, a solid foundation to succeed. And it's really cool to see, because we've been through the Steve Keim era and the Cliff Kingsbury era where things didn't work out. And it was really easy to point fingers amongst each other. And it's just bad environment. We don't want that anymore.
Absolutely. I love, love, love what Jonathan Gannon and Kyle, like you've had the shots with Jonathan Gannon. I can't find it right now, but I pulled that one up right there. I mean, you can just tell like they're happy. Like it's not, you don't have that stupid clause in his contract that your GM puts in there just to allow speculation. Then obviously it gets leaked. So someone leaked it. And then Steve Keim is Mr. Podcast, man, hopping on Collinsworth or
Yeah.
whoever it is
Colin
podcast.
Cowherd.
Yeah, Coward's
Yeah.
podcast every single chance he gets, and he has to show face and then tell everyone that GMs need to take accountability. It's like, man, like, come on, dog. Like you can't hop on here with the track record you got and
And
then
that's the thing.
just
That was the biggest double standard.
spill.
We've seen this since years, mythic years. Like when I don't know what year you started doing your channel, but I started mine around 2019, and I could have sworn in 2020 I was already talking about it. Like in 2019, I was like, I'm new to the space. I'm not gonna get crazy with my wild takes. 2020, I was like, okay, I'm going in. I'm like, F Steve Keim. This guy is terrible. This is all his draft picks. He sucks. And it's just the accountability that he preaches. It was such a double standard all across the board that like it's hard for a employee, right, looking above and being like, what am I really playing? Look at all these snakes up here, like, right? Like you got to have some sort of good relationship amongst your employer, wherever you're employed.
You can't have that toxic environment. And it just felt like with Cliff, I mean, no one really respected him, especially after, what was it, the second season? I don't know. It felt like there was a major disconnect between a lot of people, Kyler Murray included. Now it feels like Kyler Murray's bought in, and not only that, kind of sees what a real coach is, what a real culture is, and how to buy in. I feel like he's never really had that, and he was kind of allowed to run all over Cliff because Cliff allowed it. I mean, he's a player's coach. He kind of allows that kind of thing. Jonathan Gannon commands respect, and on top of that, Kyler Murray respects him like as a coach. Like it's a lot easier when you have somebody that you can buy into versus someone you like cannot buy into or don't trust, because Kyler Murray has obviously gotten into it with Cliff like countless times and was kind of that built up frustration. You call bad plays, you don't put the team in order to win football games. Like, I mean, there were countless times where Cliff just, it seemed like he didn't have his head on straight. Or we were like, what are you doing? What are you calling? What is this play call? Kyler Murray's a quarterback, probably wanting to audible every single play because he's like, this isn't going to work. This is about to get shot up. Like, what are we doing here? And then just run it. All right, screen pass on second 15. Let's go. Like, it's
hope for the best.
It's just like the worst thing you've ever seen. And then we finally have a legit OC. We are like putting a football team together, like a legit football team. Like, who would have thought, right? You get an offensive coordinator, a head coach who people can buy into, and look at what happens. Start rallying games. And Cliff did win a couple games, but it just feels different.
It does. No, it does. And just kind of going back to, the Detroit Lions in terms of like the blueprint and what we're seeing, like we're also kind of seeing a quarterback that like that was traded to the Lions that kind of everybody gave up on, right? Jared Goff has gotten so much confidence now with Dan Campbell. Like that's just an amazing story, man. Like, because everybody was calling Jared Goff a bust already. And although he took the Rams to the Super Bowl, didn't win it. But like it's very unfortunate. That I think you're kind of right. Sometimes people just give up on quarterbacks too, and then we kind of forget that they're human beings at the end of the day, right? And they do need a sense of confidence amongst them, and then that's what Dan Campbell did. And I kind of feel like that's what Jonathan Gannon's doing to Kyler Murray, because you're seeing a level of excitement and happiness in his voice and his face, and I think he's excited about the Cardinals' future, as we should be.
It's crazy, the Jared Goff story. And I mean, I guess Geno Smith is also a testament to this, because 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions last year. Or 2 years ago. It just shows that you can't give up on a quarterback no matter what. Like, they can still have it. They can still have something in the tank. Joe Flacco came off the couch and rallied games. Obviously, didn't have the best counting stats, but they went 4-1 before the playoffs.
Yeah.
So they were able to rally games with someone who came off the couch at 38 years old or whatever Joe Flacco is. And then Jared Goff took him to a Super Bowl, got no credit for it. I will admit the defense was loaded, but Jared Goff played a factor. Like, obviously, game managing a lot of games. Sean McVay might have not had full confidence in him like Dan Campbell does. Dan Campbell, it feels like, is instilling confidence.
Oh, yeah.
Like they just have such a great relationship where, like, Jared Goff finally has someone where it's just like he just plays free. On the Rams, it didn't seem like he was playing free.
Yeah.
Like, Sean McVay didn't really have confidence in Jared Goff the way Dan Campbell did. And you can feel it. You could see it in the way the games are coached. It was a lot of Todd Gurley, which haven't said that name in a while. Like Todd Gurley, David Johnson days, man.
I know.
Like it's been a while, but the confidence wasn't there. And it's crazy because Cliff, I mean, like I didn't really see the confidence instilled from Cliff either. Like I didn't really feel like Cliff had confidence in himself, let alone his football team. And now we have Jonathan Gannon, who's kind of mellow yellow, just like you said, just cool as it could be. And there is confidence instilled in Kyler Murray, like from the jump before he was even playing football games. And he was back from his ACL. The confidence was there. I mean, he subtly hinted at it, which led for me to believe they knew who their quarterback was. And internally, I felt like they knew. But obviously, you still have to make sure, like, he's good. He's back from ACL surgery. And the confidence is there. He's instilled it in him ever since he got back. You could see the way that he's getting hyped up on the sideline when Kyler Murray bombed the Texans on that post route to Rondale Moore. I mean, he came to the sideline. They're screaming at each other, just super hype. Like, I feel so different. And I feel like we are going to be very, very, very similar to what Detroit has. And if not, next season.
Expedited
By a season.
Let's see, man. That's obviously hoping, right? Let's see what happens. I like what we've done. This is going to be the first official Monty Ossenfort's off season, because like I said, I've said this multiple times, the last one that we saw, like, I don't feel like he was really able to do very much. I think Michael Bidwell needed to recoup a lot of money. I think there's a lot of dead money that we're trying to take away with DeAndre Hopkins and other players that were kind of not a part of the Cardinals organization. So we're starting off fresh. We took the year off, and I think there was a lot of good things to see, but the grand scheme of things, let's see 2024. I'm stoked. I'm ready to get it started here. We got the combine starting up here at the end of February. We got free agency in March, and then we got the draft in April. So real quick right now, I know we were going to small one, just 2 or 3 more minutes if you don't mind. My question here real quick is going to be, I saw somebody in the chat saying, okay, Caleb Williams, he still hasn't declared for the NFL draft. Do you think this is the deadline today? And I haven't even checked the Twitter world if he has already, but do you think he's going to declare for the NFL draft? And the other reason why I'm asking is because obviously it doesn't affect, like, we're not going to get Caleb Williams, but it does affect, can the Panthers go after him? Because if he doesn't declare, maybe Marvin Harrison Jr. won't be available.
I think he declares. That's crazy though. I forgot he hasn't. Like, this is a deadline, but shocker, Caleb Williams waiting till the last day.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? I mean, just speculation on speculation. I feel like he just wants to be the talk or whatever. So when he's the last one to declare, it's like the undisputed number 1 overall pick is coming to the to the draft. So
yeah,
I don't know. I personally just not the biggest fan of Caleb Williams. That's just me though.
That's fair.
Just in terms of football and personality wise, just not my favorite prospect in this draft. But I don't know, man. I feel like he will declare today. That's interesting to monitor. I did not know that.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Nothing's happened yet.
No, I haven't seen anything yet. There was something put out here on the Twitter world that says breaking: the legendary USC quarterback Caleb Williams plans to declare for 2024 later on today. That was from ML Football on Twitter. But we still haven't got the official word, but it seems like he's planning later on. I think he's literally trying to bleed this to the very, very end. And if that does happen, we've said this multiple times, it can be quarterback, and the Cardinals coming back up and getting the guy here at Marvin Harrison Jr. at number 4. So we'll see. Fingers crossed.
We need him to declare.
Yeah. I agree.
So fingers crossed on the declaring.
All right, cool. Well, let's close up shop here. Mythic, thank you so very much for joining me. Everybody in the chat, thank you so very much for being here. If you guys haven't already, smack the like button. Do that favor for us right now. We are doing a smaller abbreviated show today just because there's not really much to talk about in terms of Cardinals, but we did dive into wild card weekend, how we felt about it, our predictions on these next 2 coming games up here on Monday, which is going to take place today. Talked a little bit of Arizona Cardinals and if Caleb Williams will declare by today, because today is the deadline. So everybody, appreciate you guys for tuning in. As always, have a great rest of your day, and go Cards. Later.